present. Yeah, okay. I'll deal with it then. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You should start. Make a start. Do you know where it is? Is that it there? Just don't hide it.
Good morning, everybody. Mayor Dalzell and councillors, thank you very much indeed for enabling us to make our deputation this morning. This is Greg Hines on my left. Greg and I'm Ross Gray. Greg is a history tutor at Canterbury University, and I'm the Deputy Chair of Historic Places Canterbury and convener of the Save the Majestic group. You may recall that 4 months ago, almost to the day, we were here, plus Ian Lockhead, and we made a deputation requesting your assistance to save the Majestic Theatre for the future of Christchurch. This is a deputation, as you can see, seeking further support to save the Majestic Theatre. And we're going to look at it in 4 sections briefly, so that there is time for questions. Our deputation, just to recap, our deputation on the 5th of December 2013 sought council support to save and restore the CCC Group 2 heritage listed Majestic Theatre building. We outlined in a series of bullet points why it should be saved and problems that had to be solved. We urged the Committee of the Whole to 1. Resolve that the Majestic be saved and restored for the benefit of the people of Christchurch and Canterbury. 2. That the committee seek an interim moratorium on demolition of the Majestic from Sarah CCDU to allow for a thorough assessment of the building's potential. 3. To commission costings for strengthening and restoration. And 4. To negotiate with Sarah CCDU to resolve roading issues. Now, the wording that was written up at the time by the Minutes Secretary came out a little bit differently, and I haven't managed to access those minutes, but this is the essence of what we requested, and we were, of course, very, very encouraged and gratified that the committee gave its wholehearted support for these requests.
And so just to give you a brief update of what we've been doing on our end since our deputation last year in December, for this cause, we've been keeping up our public information campaign to let the public know about the cause, namely through our exhibition Valuing Our Heritage in Shop 7 of Cathedral Junction and through our Facebook and website pages. We sent a letter to the Chief Executive of Sarah and the Director of the CCDU requesting a meeting to discuss roading issues and other aspects around the Majestic. Our letter was answered by Roger Sutton, but our meeting request was unfortunately ignored. We sent a second letter requesting meeting arrangements. Again, this was answered by Roger Sutton, but with an apology for not having been able to meet with us, but made no undertaking to meet with us again. You may have read Dr. Ian Lockhead's recent perspective on the Majestic in the press, which on the 24th of February, which outlined our case very well, and again, let the public know about the cause. We were then made aware of a letter from Rob Hall of Historic Places Trust to Sarah in support of the retention of the Majestic, which we were very encouraged by. And in response to that letter, we sent a request to the Christchurch City Council team leader of the Heritage Response Team, asking for a letter in support of the retention of the Majestic to Sarah. However, at that stage, we were made aware of the decision by Warwick Isaacs to issue a Section 38 on the Majestic, putting the building's fate in serious jeopardy. So in response to that, we staged our first March 20th. The Mayor and Councillors were invited, and we were very encouraged and grateful for Councillor Johansson's expressions of support and strong views to the media. And then recently, we staged our second protest rally on March the 29th. The key difference of this was our unveiling of our 9-metre-long heritage banner showing the over 235 heritage buildings that have been demolished since the earthquake. So we paraded this from our exhibition in Shop 7 of Cathedral Junction to the Majestic Corner. And our key speakers were Dr. Ian Lockhead and Emeritus Professor Chris Kissling, who explained the viability of managing the road situation around the Majestic.
Thank you, Greg. And it's a little long to drag out this morning here, folks, but here's our 9-metre rolled up roll of heritage demolition. And hopefully, perhaps at morning tea, it could be available for your viewing out in the foyer. I'd like to go back to a couple of points that Greg's just referred to, and one of them is in reference to the issuing of the Section 38. Clearly, the issuing of the Section 38s by Sarah CCDU is the big, not the elephant in the room, but the large weight that hangs over us and of heritage buildings. And the whole question as to the use of the Section 38 is one that we feel needs serious scrutiny, and we hope that that can ensue in the very near future. So, point C, what the City Council has done since our deputation. You'll forgive me for writing this. We are aware that actions undertaken include a meeting by Mayor Dalzell and Councillor Johansson with Warwick Isaacs, with an undertaking by him to provide more engineering information. And that's,
can I interrupt and just say that isn't correct?
That isn't correct.
No.
Oh,
so
okay.
The whole of the council met with Warwick Isaacs as part of a briefing in relation to a number of matters where the Majestic was one of the items that we raised with him, where he undertook that he would get engineering advice before making the decision. So he did not at that meeting undertake to provide the engineering information to the council. So when you say provide,
okay,
that isn't correct. What he undertook to do was to obtain engineering advice before making the decision.
Thank you, but not necessarily to provide it to the council. All right, thank you. My apologies for getting that incorrect. Point D, the Majestic Group urges the City Council to 1. Reaffirm its commitment to seeking the retention and restoration of the Majestic Theatre building for the benefit of Christchurch and Canterbury. 2. To seek an undertaking by Sarah to order an immediate halt to preparations to demolish the building, which have already begun. The preparations have already begun. 3. To seek a formal meeting of the Mayor and City Councillors with the Sarah CE and the CCDU Director to find a solution to the retention of the Majestic Theatre building. And 4, most importantly, I think, to seek Sarah's cooperation to find an acceptable curved treatment of a widened Manchester Street in the area of the Majestic Theatre, which will satisfy roading requirements but also enable the full retention of the building. So we'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present this deputation and would invite any questions or comments.
Any questions? Yanni?
I find it really odd that Sarah won't meet with you to discuss it. Have you been given any reason why they simply will not engage? And do you think council should be asking, given that government won't engage with the public over these decisions, whether we should be asking to have normal democratic decision making over listed heritage buildings returned to us immediately?
Well, certainly I would. I'm sure we would support that, Councillor Johansson. As to the reasons that Sarah has for not meeting with us, there are no reasons given. I'm sure they'll have their reasons, but they're not ones that they're prepared to make clear to us. And we find that very frustrating, obviously, because we feel that speaking face to face, as people who have been very, very involved with heritage and with this building in particular, we have a contribution to make, which, who knows, may actually offer a solution.
Phil Clearwater.
Thank you. Just your point 4 about an acceptable curve treatment. So presumably what you mean by that simply is that instead of going straight, that street would have a bend or a curve.
Put a bend in it,
And
just
that
bend
could be,
it.
and
Yes.
that be incorporated in the plan so that the building be retained.
And Councillor Clearwater, Professor Chris Kisling at our second rally spoke at some length about that and pointed out that not only can that relieve the possible monotony of straight line roads, but it can actually act as a traffic calming measure. How much has been spent over the decades in street calming measures with protrusions of corners and curb interrupters and so on in the suburbs. I don't see that such a measure couldn't work effectively on Manchester Street. So yes, thank you.
Pauline Cotter.
How much of the roading are they wanting?
Councillor Cotter, they wish to widen it by 9 metres. Now, 9 metres to the east, which would chop off 9 metres of the Majestic and render it useless. And that's on top of we paced it out the other day, that the road at the moment is 11 metres wide approximately, so it'll be about a 20 metre road. And I don't know if you've seen in the accessible city plan, but there is a sort of a generic cross section. Pretty sure it's got 2 buses down the middle, some cypressy type things next, and then a couple of a car on either side, as if it's possibly a parking. A suggestion made in all seriousness by someone recently was, why not just have buses there and pedestrians, and the road would not need to be widened that much.
All right. Well, that's comes to the end of the time. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that comes to the end of the time for the deputation. So thank you very much for presenting to us, and thank you.
Thank you.
Whether we can move these resolutions.
This is what happened last time.
I mean, I'm happy to move what's in here. Basically, 3 of them basically are things that we've already resolved as a council, and we're just basically reaffirming. And the 4th one is a kind of new one around the road treatment, which personally seems to be a sensible way forward if we can get a meeting or have a discussion. But that would be my view.
Yeah, I'd rather. Can we take some advice on this over morning tea and come back to it? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to now move to item